Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a world where small silver discs can hold stories worth thousands of dollars. Australia's 10-cent coin, simple, familiar, yet filled with mystery, has become a silent witness to the nation's changing history. From the early days of decimal currency in 1966 through the experimental minting years that followed, every edition hides something rare, something valuable. Some are struck with minting errors, some shine with untouched perfection, and a few have stunned collectors with prices soaring into the thousands. So today, we begin an extraordinary journey, uncovering the most valuable Australian 10-cent coins, year by year, revealing how these everyday coins turned into treasures of fortune and pride. And our journey begins right here, in the remarkable year 1966, when Australia took its bold leap into the age of decimal currency. This was not just another year in the nation's history, it was a complete transformation of the monetary system. Gone were the pounds and shillings, replaced by a modern design that spoke of a confident new Australia. At the heart of this transformation stood the 1966 Australian 10-cent coin, a piece that would forever symbolize the country's transition to a fresh economic identity. Struck in brilliant cupro-nickel, it carried on one side the graceful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, while the reverse displayed the majestic lyrebird, an emblem of Australia's natural beauty and unique spirit. But behind its gleaming surface lies a story of craftsmanship, precision, and unexpected fortune. The production of the 1966 10-cent coin was split between two great mints, one in Canberra and the other in London, a decision that would soon shape its destiny among collectors. Each mint produced coins with subtle differences in strike quality, metal tone, and detailing. Over time, experts began to notice that certain coins, particularly those with perfect alignment and deeply struck lyrebirds, were exceptional, far above ordinary circulation pieces. Collectors soon realized that these differences were not mistakes, but treasures. The 1966 10-cent coin quickly became one of the most desirable coins in Australia's decimal history, cherished as the very first of its kind. Even today, decades later, its historical significance and scarcity in pristine condition keep it at the top of every serious collector's list. A flawless mint state 1966 10-cent coin, preserved without a single mark or scratch, can sell for over $3,000 in auctions, and those struck with minor minting errors or misalignments have fetched up to $6,000, with some private sales even exceeding that figure among elite numismatists. Think about that, a coin worth just 10 cents when it was minted, now commanding thousands of dollars in the collector's market. It's more than a number. It's a symbol of how history rewards those who see beyond the ordinary. What makes this coin truly special isn't just its age or rarity. It's what it represents. It marks Australia's birth into the modern monetary world, a time when precision, beauty, and identity fused into one shining symbol. Every curve of the lyrebird's feathers, every letter in the legend, tells a story of national pride and artistic mastery, and each surviving specimen from 1966 carries that story into the hands of whoever holds it today. Many Australians still have these coins tucked away, unaware of the hidden fortune they may be sitting on. That's the magic of numismatics. The ordinary becomes extraordinary once you learn its true worth. Finding one in perfect condition is like uncovering a time capsule, a piece of Australia's golden beginning that still gleams with opportunity. The truth is simple. The 1966 10-cent coin isn't just valuable, it's iconic. It's the cornerstone of Australian decimal collecting, a reminder that even the smallest coin can tell the grandest story. And as collectors continue to hunt for the best preserved examples, the market only grows stronger, driving its price higher with every passing year. So the next time you glance at an old coin lying forgotten in a drawer or resting at the bottom of a jar, take a closer look. If it bears that proud lyrebird and the date 1966, you might just be holding a hidden treasure worth thousands of dollars. The first year of Australia's decimal coinage began with a masterpiece. And that masterpiece, the 1966 10-cent coin, remains one of the most valuable and celebrated coins in Australian history. As we move forward from the historic debut of 1966, the story continues with the next chapter, 1967, the year that tested the consistency and craftsmanship of Australia's new decimal coinage. By now, the excitement of the nation's currency change had settled into rhythm. The Royal Australian Mint was refining its production, ensuring that every coin reflected the pride of a growing nation. The 1967 Australian 10-cent coin followed the same elegant design that first captured the world's attention, the regal profile of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, and the magnificent lyrebird spreading its tail feathers across the reverse. But this time, precision became the priority. The Mint focused on perfecting its striking process, and the 1967 issue stands as one of the cleanest, sharpest series in the early decimal era. Behind that shining finish, however, lies something far more intriguing: scarcity and quality. While millions were minted for circulation, only a small fraction have survived in untouched, flawless condition. Years of handling, pocket wear, and circulation have left most of them scarred and dull. That's what makes pristine examples so valuable. They represent survival, beauty, and perfection from a year that rarely preserved either. Collectors who hold an uncirculated 1967 10-cent coin know they possess a piece of Australian minting history that only a few will ever own. And for those rare coins still sealed in their original mint sets or graded at the highest professional levels, their prices have soared. Some top-graded specimens have sold for over $2,500, and certain die variations have reached as high as $4,000, depending on condition and strike clarity. These aren't just numbers. They're proof of how the smallest differences can create extraordinary value. Every fine detail on the lyrebird's tail, every crisp letter in the inscription, adds to its desirability. The perfection of alignment, the luster of untouched metal, it all defines the collector's dream. What truly fuels the coin's worth, though, is its emotional connection to Australia's post-decimal optimism. 1967 represents stability after change, a moment when the new currency finally found its identity. This coin isn't merely metal, it's a frozen moment of national progress. And each surviving piece carries that emotion, that pride, that symbol of endurance. Collectors often describe holding a 1967 10-cent coin as holding a reflection of Australia's confidence during a time of renewal. It's a piece of history that continues to shine brighter with every passing decade. The demand for this coin continues to rise in auctions, particularly for specimens that have retained their mirror-like brilliance. Coin dealers and private collectors actively seek high-grade examples, knowing that their value is bound to increase with time. Even among everyday Australians, the legend of the 1967 10-cent coin has spread. People searching through jars, drawers, and old wallets, hoping to uncover one in perfect shape. And those lucky enough to find one in mint condition often realize they're holding far more than loose change. They're holding a legacy, a symbol of the nation's early craftsmanship and enduring pride. It's no wonder the 1967 issue stands as one of the most celebrated follow-ups to the original 1966 masterpiece. Together, they form the foundation of Australia's decimal coin history, one that continues to inspire collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike. As we move from the promise of 1967 toward the evolving artistry of the late 1960s, A new year emerges with its own secrets to tell and its own rare gems to uncover. By this time, the Royal Australian Mint had gained confidence. The production lines were faster, the designs sharper, and the consistency stronger than ever before. But perfection, as history shows, always hides its own surprises. The 1969 Australian 10-cent coin retained its classic imagery, the elegant profile of Queen Elizabeth II on one side and the proud lyrebird on the other. Yet beneath that familiar design, something remarkable was unfolding. This year's issue marked one of the lowest production runs of the early decimal period, creating an immediate sense of rarity among collectors decades later. While millions of coins circulated, very few survived in pristine, untouched condition. Most were used daily, exchanged, dropped, and worn until their fine details faded away. That's what makes a high-grade 1969 10-cent coin such a prized discovery today. Under the right light, its silvery surface gleams like new, the lyrebird's feathers sharp, and the inscriptions perfectly raised. Such coins are the heart of Australia's collecting scene time travelers that escape the wear of decades. Numismatists consider 1969 a quiet year in Australian minting, but quiet often hides value. Over the years, specialists have identified small die varieties, minor metal tone shifts, and unique strikes that make certain 1969 coins stand out. These variations, invisible to the casual eye, have pushed prices far beyond ordinary expectations. A flawless mint state 1969 10-cent coin can reach values of over $2,800, and rare die-struck versions or high-grade proofs have fetched up to $4,500 in auctions. Collectors know that coins from this year, especially those with full luster and minimal contact marks, are worth chasing. This is not just a collectible, it's a conversation between precision and preservation. Every mark tells a story, every shine whispers of the day it was struck. What makes 1969 particularly captivating is that it bridges two eras, the bold innovation of the 1960s and the refined confidence that the 1970s would soon bring. The coin captures the essence of that transition. Its finish reflects improvement, its design echoes continuity, and its survival rate speaks of rarity. Holding one in mint condition feels like touching the heartbeat of Australian minting progress, a perfect balance between artistry and endurance. Collectors prize it not just for what it is, but for what it represents: resilience, refinement, and hidden fortune. Even after more than half a century, the allure of the 1969 10-cent coin remains powerful. Dealers seek it, collectors compete for it, and every discovery reignites excitement across the numismatic community. Its value continues to climb as high-grade examples become scarcer with time. Each one found today adds another chapter to its legacy, a symbol of how something so small can hold so much history and worth. So, if you come across a 1969 10-cent coin with that unmistakable brilliance, look closely. You may be holding a quiet masterpiece, one capable of turning an ordinary day into a moment of discovery. The 1969 issue stands as a treasure of balance, modest in appearance, yet rich in history and reward. As we move out of the turbulent 1960s and into the calm precision of the new decade, the spotlight turns to 1973, a year that quietly reshaped the collector's hunt for perfection. By now, Australia's decimal system had become second nature to its people. The coins that once felt new and experimental were now part of daily life, symbols of stability and progress. But within that normalcy, the 1973 Australian 10-cent coin emerged as a subtle yet significant milestone. It wasn't a redesign or a new experiment. It was excellence, refined and perfected through years of minting mastery. The same timeless imagery returned. the dignified profile of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, and the elegant lyrebird fanning its feathers across the reverse. Yet what truly distinguished the 1973 issue was its limited availability and exceptional quality in uncirculated form. Production numbers this year were relatively lower than surrounding years, and many of these coins were heavily circulated, leaving few pristine examples behind. Those that survived in untouched brilliance became modern-day rarities. Collectors soon realized that 1973 had become one of the harder dates to find in true mint condition, a fact that drove its value steadily upward. Each coin from this year holds the character of the early 1970s, a nation growing in confidence, its economy stabilizing, and its currency reflecting that maturity. The 1973 minting quality was known for its sharp strikes, well-defined edges, and a balanced metallic sheen that gave each coin an elegant glow. And when preserved perfectly, this glow still shines today, even half a century later. High-grade examples of the 1973 10-cent coin have achieved remarkable auction results, with pristine specimens selling for over $2,000, and coins bearing minor die varieties or proof-like qualities fetching as much as $3,500 among collectors. The combination of rarity and precision has made this year's issue a cornerstone of Australian decimal coin collections. It's not the loudest coin of the series. It's the quiet achiever that commands respect through beauty and scarcity. Every collector who studies the early decimal era knows the importance of the 1973 issue. It represents the turning point where minting mastery met enduring demand. The brilliance of its metal, the depth of its engraving, and the historical context of its creation all combine to form a piece that's both elegant and valuable. Owning a flawless 1973 10-cent coin is like holding a snapshot of Australia's steady confidence in the 1970s, refined, proud, and full of promise. And even as time passes, the market continues to recognize its worth. Each year, fewer untouched examples remain, and with each passing sale, their prices climb higher. It's no exaggeration to say that the 1973 10-cent coin has become a quiet legend among Australian collectors, admired not only for its beauty, but for its growing financial power. Many treasure hunters still search for it, hoping to uncover one preserved from circulation, hidden in old jars, rolls, or forgotten collections. The dream of discovering that perfect 1973 coin keeps the passion alive, a reminder that even decades later, history continues to reward those with patience and curiosity. So if you ever find one that gleams brighter than the rest, remember this. You might just be holding a coin worth thousands of dollars and a piece of Australia's refined minting heritage. The story doesn't end here, because as we move from 1973 to 1974, another chapter unfolds, a year that would carry forward the legacy of precision and surprise the world with its own valuable secrets. The nation was now comfortable in its modern currency era, but the mints were not standing still. Each passing year refined their precision, their methods, and their artistry, and the 1974 Australian 10-cent coin reflects that dedication beautifully. Though its design remained unchanged, its spirit evolved. The obverse still featured the confident portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, while the reverse proudly displayed the iconic lyrebird, its feathers a masterpiece of detail and depth. But in 1974, something quietly set this year apart. Production patterns shifted, and a significant portion of the coins struck that year were absorbed into everyday use. That means uncirculated or high-grade pieces are far rarer than one might imagine. To the casual observer, it may look like any other 10-cent coin, but under a collector's lens, the differences become striking: a richer tone, a deeper engraving, and a surface finish that reflected the mint's ever-growing mastery. It's this delicate balance between common design and rare preservation that gives the 1974 10-cent coin its enduring charm and its value. When discovered in exceptional mint state condition, this coin can command surprising prices. Auctions have seen perfect examples fetch over $2,800, while coins with faint dye-polish lines or unique strike patterns have been valued at up to $3,500. The demand is fueled not just by its scarcity, but by the sense of continuity it represents. The 1974 issue is a bridge, connecting the early days of Australia's decimal history to the modern standards that would define later decades. Collectors view it as part of a crucial mid-era set, and completing that set without a flawless 1974 piece is nearly impossible. That's why competition for top-graded specimens remains fierce. Beyond its financial worth, this coin tells a quiet but powerful story of Australia's progress, a story of consistency, excellence, and national pride engraved in every curve of metal. The mints of the 1970s were under pressure to maintain quality while meeting growing demand. Yet despite the millions produced, few coins left the presses with the level of precision seen in 1974's best strikes. This balance of mass production and hidden rarity makes the coin even more fascinating for modern collectors. It's a reminder that true value often lies beneath the surface, waiting for the right eyes to recognize it. Finding a perfectly preserved 1974 10-cent coin today feels like discovering a lost chapter of history. Its gleam still carries the optimism of its era, a time when Australia's coinage had fully come into its own. The smooth edges, the flawless fields, and the crisp engraving of the lyrebird all whisper the same message: perfection is timeless. Every serious collector dreams of adding a flawless 1974 piece to their collection, not just for its monetary reward, but for what it represents. And as more of these coins vanish into private hands and museum collections, their value continues to climb, year after year. For many, the 1974 10-cent coin isn't just an investment. It's a symbol of dedication, patience, and the joy of preserving history. So if you ever spot one that shines brighter than the rest, don't overlook it. That small silver coin could easily be worth thousands of dollars, and it might just be your link to one of the most refined years in Australian minting history. And as Australia continued its journey through the late 20th century, one final chapter stood out, a coin that quietly carried the legacy of a changing nation. The 1981 Australian 10-cent piece, though modest in appearance, has become one of the most captivating finds for collectors today. The year was 1981, a time when Australia's coinage was no longer new but firmly established in the hearts of its people. Yet, even within this familiar silver disc lay something extraordinary. The 1981 Australian 10-cent coin holds stories of rarity, craftsmanship, and unexpected value that continue to dazzle numismatists across the world. Struck in the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra, this coin was part of a production run designed to keep circulation healthy. But what no one expected was that, within this year's minting, some pieces would stand apart, coins so well preserved, so beautifully struck, that they would become hidden treasures of the modern era. The reverse still featured the striking image of the majestic lyrebird, its tail feathers fanning gracefully, representing Australia's natural beauty and cultural identity. On the obverse, the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, dignified and elegant, marked a sovereign legacy that connected the Commonwealth across generations. But the true fascination of the 1981 10-cent piece lies in its variance and survival condition. Minted in multiple locations, including Canberra, Llantrisant in Wales, and even the Royal Canadian Mint, each production run carried subtle differences. These mint marks, when identified correctly, can turn an ordinary 10-cent coin into a collector's prize worth talking about. The coins struck in Canada are particularly interesting. They bear slight variations in font and relief details, making them highly desirable to collectors who thrive on precision and discovery. Finding one in near-perfect uncirculated condition is like stumbling upon a relic of modern minting history. And yes, these coins can be valuable. In pristine mint state, especially those struck in Canada or with sharp, lustrous details, their value can soar up to $1,000 or more depending on the market and grading quality. That's a thousand-fold increase over its face value, a remarkable leap for a coin many once dismissed as ordinary change. Imagine, just for a moment, holding one of these coins in your hand, a tiny piece of 1981, gleaming with silvery light, untouched by time. It's more than just metal. It's a tangible link to the precision of minting and the legacy of Australia's numismatic story. Collectors across the globe hunt for the elusive 1981 variants, studying the finer details of the lettering, edge, and die alignment. Each discovery feels like unearthing a secret chapter of Australian minting history. And the best part, you might already own one, hidden away in an old drawer, a jar of coins, or a family keepsake box. Your 1981 10-cent coin might be waiting to reveal its true worth. Every coin tells a story, but few speak as boldly as this one. It's a symbol of enduring craftsmanship, of rarity born not from scarcity but from perfection. So when you next come across a 1981 Australian 10-cent coin, don't let it pass unnoticed. Look closer. Study its shine, its details, its very soul. You might just be holding one of the most valuable modern coins of Australia's history. Because in the world of numismatics, value isn't just measured in dollars. It's measured in legacy, rarity, and the thrill of discovery. And that's what makes the 1981 Australian 10-cent coin not just valuable, but unforgettable.